Hello friends, and welcome back to my podcast, Unwind and Knit with me. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you from Christchurch in New Zealand, and this is my little YouTube place where I talk about my knitting and my yarn and my patterns and what I've been up to within the knitting community, a community that I absolutely love. So to all my existing viewers, welcome back, and if you are new to my podcast, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the content. Today is episode 60, and it's Thursday the 22nd of August. So in my last podcast I announced that August is my 3-year podcast anniversary, so thank you to everybody and all their really nice well wishes and kind words to encourage me to keep going. But yeah, we're 3 years, so that's really awesome. What I do want to do is, actually I'll start with the admin things and then I'll get into what I want to do. So, and I'm going to be looking down because that's where my notes are, so bear with me. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Unwind and Knit with me, and also on Ravelry as Lisa NZ Knitter. I'm not as good on Ravelry as I should be. It is something I try to work on, but I'm not always up to date. Everything I talk about today in this podcast, I leave quite thorough show notes below, so you can click that. It's either download or show more icon at the bottom of this video, and you will see links to all the patterns and yarns and tutorials or anything that I talk about will be in my show notes. So 3 years. And I was looking at my numbers last night and I thought, well, there's just lots of threes because my subscriber numbers are just over 3,300 and my Instagram followers are over 1,300. So I thought, well, this month there's just lots of threes. It must be, it's all quite relevant, I think. So I am, in my last podcast, I announced that I was going to do a giveaway to celebrate my 3 years. And I am going to do that, but I'm going to wait until my next episode because I have a new mYak fibres order on its way. And I have in there a gift pack. And what I'm going to be giving away is a gift pack of 6 skeins of the new yarn that I'm going to be stocking. So that's something to look forward to. And so you'll have to come back to episode 61 to hear more about the giveaway. It just seemed, I just thought it was worth waiting. The prize is so good that it's worth waiting another episode for that one. Also, my online store, unwindandknit.com. Thank you to everybody that visits my online store and purchases from me. The store that I've got actually helps me to do what I'm doing with my podcast. It helps me fund things so I can podcast. It all ties in together. So thank you to everybody that supports my online store. So in this podcast, I am going to be talking about what I'm wearing, my whips, my FOs, patterns that I want to cast on, new patterns that I have found, and then at the end of the episode I will do a shop update. And I have now in my store the new Thread and Maple needle binder range, so I thought I'd go through that with you and just do like a bit of a product review on the Thread and Maple. It's a bit like chiaoGoo, where it's an amazing range, but it's there's a lot of bits to it. So it probably helps if I do like a bit of a review on each page, and if you are keen and want to purchase Thread and Maple, it will give you a bit more of an insight. So I'll leave that to the end of the episode, and I will scroll down. I've actually, I'm working on my how I edit these videos, so you may see a few changes. I've been doing some training, sort of like correspondence online training to get better at the presentation. But with that too, I've started to do all the notes that I use for my podcast. I've been typing them up in a document over the few weeks leading into it, rather than having lots of pen and paper and I'm finding it really good because when I think of something, I've always got my laptop open so I can just jump on and add it. So I will be referring to my laptop, which is in front of me a little bit, which is probably really no different to me referring to my bits of paper that I had. So let's get started. I did thank everyone, didn't I? Thank you to existing viewers and welcome to new viewers. And if I didn't say so before, if you haven't already, please subscribe. You can hit the thumbs up button, which is good, and also the little bell symbol, which is notifications. So that means that when I go live with a new episode, you'll be the first to know. So yeah, thank you. And let's get into it. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, so the giveaway, it's going to contain the new mYak yarn that I'm getting, which is called Kupa, K-U-P-A, Kupa. And it's 50% baby yak and 50% cotton. And I'm getting the whole range in. I'm not sure if I'm getting all the colours, but I'm getting a fairly decent chunk of that range in because it's spring in about 10 days. We're nearly in spring here in the Southern Hemisphere and moving into our warmer months. And I have to say, today is beautiful. I think we had a frost, so it's cold. But I was out and about yesterday doing a few chores around Christchurch, and the daffodils are out, and that is such a good sign that we're so close to being at the end of winter. So just so lovely. If you're in Christchurch, you've got to get into Hagley Park and see all those daffodils. It's just stunning. I do feel very lucky. I really feel like I live in one of the best cities. I'm quite biased. So I will quickly talk about what I'm wearing. You have seen this in my last podcast, but this is the Scarlet Oak Jersey by Elizabeth from Amikihia Knits, and I will insert the pattern details. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. I will insert that in a moment, but I thought I just would give you a rundown. I did a collaboration with Elizabeth, and she designed this beautiful yoke sweater in the Yarnadalic yarn that I stock. So Yarnadalic comes from John Arbon Textiles Mill in the UK, and it's by far one of my favourite yarns, although mYak is actually coming in a very close second at the moment. But with this pattern, it's available on Ravelry, and I have kits for it if you are keen on my website. The colour that I'm wearing is the one called Blue, and the one that Elizabeth designed is in autumn shades. So the two colourways are autumn and blue, and there is a couple left of the limited edition. So John Arbon Textiles brings out limited edition colours just every couple of years that are sort of never to be repeated colours. So you can get on my website and have a look if you are keen to knit this. And we're in the perfect weather for it, where it's warming up a little bit, but you still need a sweater. Mine has been knitted with a 3/4 sleeve or a bracelet length sleeve, which I really love. And I will try and show it to you. I don't like standing up. I find it quite awkward, but I love the cut to it. It's quite boxy. You see, it's got quite a big hem, and it just hangs really nicely. It sits beautifully, and you have the option with the neckline, because you go back and pick up your stitches to do the neckline, and mine's quite a relaxed open neckline, which I really like, where Elizabeth picked up more stitches and did a more of a closed neckline, so you do have that option. What can I tell you about the pattern that I haven't already told you? It's a top down in the round stranded colour work jersey. I'm wearing the size 4, and it was done in a 3.25mm needle. The gauge is 28 stitches per 4" or 10 centimetre. There is only a small section at the bottom where the floats are quite spaced out, so you may have to catch your floats. and I think there's only 1 or 2 rows where you work with more than 2 colours. But yeah, if you like it, jump on the website. On my website, it's under Scarlet Oak, but on Ravelry, you can jump on and have a look at the pattern. And yeah, I'm just going to pause because I think I'm going to insert a photo. Hey, you've seen those photos before, but I thought I'd just pop them in there. I do have one finished object. I was just looking at my notes, and I actually had it as a whip, a work in progress, but I finished it last night, so it's now a finished object. And my husband is very happy. He finally got something hand knitted from me. So I have finished knitting the Oslo Hat by Petite Knits. Now, I will take it off, but I just wanted to put it on there to show it to you. This is the 2nd or the 3rd one of these that I've done, and it's a very plain basic knit in stockinette stitch, which a couple of features I'll show you. But I love it. I love it because it's snug and it's warm. And if I'm going to wear a beanie, and my husband too for that matter, I don't generally wear them for show. I wear them because I'm out and I'm really cold, because it has to be really cold for me to wear a beanie. And this is super warm. So there is quite a lot of knitting in it, but it's really easy TV knitting, I will tell you. So at the brim here, you knit 20 centimeters. You knit quite a lot of knitting. And then you actually turn it in and knit it, knit the hem, you double fold it and knit it down on itself, if that makes sense. And then you do this little ridge, you turn your knitting backwards, you do it like a German short row so there's not a hole, and you start working the other direction, and you get this ridge here of garter stitch, but on the other side it creates this nice, you can see it there, on the other side it creates this nice sort of ridge. It's one of my hairs. So when you wear it, on the brim, it's just a nice stockinette stitch finish. It doesn't reveal the garter stitch that's on the bottom, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. So you've got a brim here that's double, it's knitted double, and then it's folded up. So you've literally got 3 layers in that brim. And it just fits so snug and so warm that I just love this pattern, and I'm going to do it again. The crown is a really basic sort of slip stitch, knit 2 together, slip stitch, pass 1 over, knit 2 together to create the crown. Very easy, nothing complicated. And it's just a really nice, well-fitted beanie. Now, the pattern that I've used is the Oslo Hat mohair edition, which is a 4-ply held together with mohair, and that's what I did my original one in. This yarn that I've used is what I would call a heavy 4-ply, and I've done it at quite a tight gauge on a 3mm needle, and I counted my stitches and my gauge was way out. I think the gauge calls for 23 stitches over 10 centimeters, where I actually got 28. So my knitting was a lot tighter, and the fabric, the gauge was a lot more dense, but I really liked this fabric, and I liked the tight gauge. So I just did the largest size, and it worked. I didn't do any maths or anything, it just worked. My husband did say it was a little bit too snug on his head. So what I'm going to do, because I am going to cast on another one, I'll show you the yarn I'm going to use. I'm going to go up to a 3.5mm needle for his. Well, this is his as well. But the next one I will do on a larger needle. So I should get closer to gauge. But it's just beautiful, and it's really snug. There is also the Oslo Hat DK version. So if you've got DK yarn in your stash, that's probably an option as well. But that's my finished object. Super, super happy with that. He's really happy with it, which is the main thing. I bought that yarn in Canada. I showed it a few episodes ago when I first got back from Canada. What I will say is I did weigh it, so it was 100 grams skein, and I had 33 grams left over, so it used 67 grams of a heavy 4-ply yarn. The next one I'm going to do, I bought this yarn, Sanders Yarn Co. off Melissa from Sander Yarn Co. in Canada. I think she's based in Montreal. But I hadn't used this yarn, 65% Blue Face Leicester, 25% Masham and 10% Cashmere. And I bought 2 skeins. They're the 2 colours. Aren't they beautiful? They just, and I think they're really quite a masculine sort of colour. So I'm going to do my next one in this colour. And I'm going to do the same, the mohair edition, but like I said, I'm going to go up half a needle size, just so it's a little bit more relaxed, because his head's a little bit bigger than mine. And that, I mean, it does fit him, but he did say it's quite snug. So then he'll have 2 options. So that's my, my next cast on. What I will say about that beanie, I use for the whole body of that beanie, up until when I had to decrease for the crown, I use these 40cm chiaoGoo fixed needles, and you can see they've got a bend in them here, and they're perfect circumference for a beanie. So this is the 40cm fixed cable, and I just find that so much easier than DPNs. I'm not a fan of DPNs, but I do always use them for the crown of the beanie. And I thought I'd show you these. I've only got one in stock. This is my set. Like I said, I don't use a lot of DPNs, but when you need them, you want them, and you want good ones. So the chiaoGoo do this set of DPNs, and there's 6 sets in there, and they actually include a 3mm, which is really cool because it's not always easy to get 3mm. But it goes from a 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, 3, and a 3.25. So these are perfect for fingering weight yarns or socks, but they're what I used for the crown on the beanie. So that's the chiaoGoo DPN set. And I will just insert for you some photos of that beanie so you can see the original photos from the pattern. In my last episode, I talked to you about my blueberry vodka lemonade jersey that I'm knitting, and that's a pattern by Thea Coleman, and I haven't got it here because it's in the naughty corner. But I talked to you about the pooling of colour. I'm using indie dyed yarn, and I didn't alternate my skeins like I should. And I sort of put it out there that I was just over it. It needs to go in the naughty corner for a little while. And I didn't know what I was going to do to fix the problem. And a lot of you sent me suggestions, so thank you. And the 2 main suggestions that that I got was, number 1, just over dye it, which I can do because I do a bit of indie dye and I've got all the equipment and all the dyes. And so that was one suggestion that I got quite a bit, was just finish it and then do a dark colour over just to blend it all when it's completed. But the main suggestion that I got was rip it back to the underarm, and then just, because I've only done about that much of the body, and that's where I could really see the pooling. So that is the advice that I'm going to take, is I'm going to rip it back to where I divided for the underarm, and then I'm going to start the alternating from that point, and hopefully that will blend and be quite, I'll be able to retrieve it and love it again. So thank you to everybody that gave me that advice. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to talk to you about my whips. Okay, the first one that I'm doing, I don't need to get it off the floor because I'm going to insert a photograph. sorry, completely lost my train of thought there. My first current whip that I've been working on and that I'm absolutely loving is the Suri Tee by Caidree, and that's a paid for pattern off Ravelry, and I'm knitting that up in the mYak Fior di Lino. Now this yarn, I am so loving it. It is so soft. So it's 50% Tibetan cloud wool, which is off sheep. It's 35% baby yak, and it's 15% baby linen. Not baby linen, Italian linen. I said that in my last podcast as well. It's 15% Italian linen. And up close, you can see the little bits of linen pop through, but it's soft. It's not scratchy, or they're not like some yarns have like guard hairs and that, like when you can see them and they can be a bit scratchy, but this is super soft, and all the colors have that little bit of fleck there from the linen. So this is the color that I'm using, and it's called Graphite. There's 8 colors in this range, and I've got them all, and here it is here. And there's not a whole lot to show you. I've done the back and the front. So you do the back shoulders, and then you pick up your stitches and do the front, at the same time increasing for the neckline, and then you join for that. You do some increasing and join up for the underarms, and then you knit straight down. The bottom of it does have a split hem, and then you pick up for the sleeves and the neckline, and it's I think it's a 2x2 rib that you do around the neckline and the sleeves. And this is a really nice relaxed summer t-shirt that I know I'm going to love. I love the fabric that it's created, and I love the yarn. And I'll just insert a photograph here so you can see the pattern photographs. Okay, the pattern calls for a 26 stitch gauge on a 3mm needle. To get gauge, I had to go up to a 3.25. So I got gauge with a 3.25, and I love the fabric, so that's awesome. It is size inclusive. It goes from an extra small up to a 5XL, so that's good. And it is designed to have positive ease. It's designed to be a bit loose and baggy, which suits me fine. I just know I'm going to love it. I just really do. And I did check. It is a 2x2 rib that you do around the collar and around the sleeves. So that's that's my Suri Tee. I actually think that I could finish this before my next podcast. I haven't done any on it probably for 4 or 5 days, because I did do a push to finish that beanie, because I was determined to finish that beanie before the end of winter. My husband hasn't got any hand knits. I don't knit for my husband. I don't knit for many people really, except myself. And he's always said to me, I want a beanie, I want a beanie. And last year he actually went and bought one. Oh, I felt a bit bad about that. So I have spent the last few days really focusing on getting that beanie done before the 1st of September, and I achieved it. So so that's my Suri Tee by Caidree, and that's done in the mYak Fior di Lino. I will just show you. There's 8 colours, and they're on my website, and I think I showed them on my last podcast, but this colour's just screaming out at me. Isn't it beautiful? It's called Anemone Pink. It's beautiful. It's actually showing it a bit more sort of magenta there. The photos on the website are quite good. They're photos that have been professionally done by mYak. Okay. Now, this is a new cast on. Since I saw you last, I have talked about it. So I have been just dying to knit with this baby yak. So this is 100% baby yak, and this is the color Desert. This is actually undyed. It's the natural shade. The yak, there's light yak and there's darker yak, and this is the undyed dark. Oh, so soft. And what I'm knitting in that is the Adventitious by Olga Putano, and I'll just insert the images for that right now. So this pattern has lace work that runs down the back and the front, and it's something that really appealed to me. The original pattern for this that Olga Putano did is actually was actually designed in this yarn. Now it's bottom up, which I know I have to get used to. I complain about bottom up because I'm just such a top down girl, but this is it is bottom up, so I've started at the bottom hem. Now that lace work, oh yeah, it's showing up. So the lace work, did I write down? It's a 44 stitch, I think, repeat. So it's 44 stitches on the back and the front. It's the same pattern on the back and the front. And all the rest of it is just stocking stitch. Now, the gauge was 30 stitches over 10 centimeters. And I got that, but I am using a 2.75mm needle. Now, I have to say, I don't think I've ever knitted a garment in a 2.75. I've knitted socks. So 2.75 is a US 2, for those of you that go by the US sizing. I've never knitted a jersey in a 2.75, but this, you can see it's not overly tight. This is a lace weight yarn, but I can't even tell you how soft and beautiful this is. This is just going to be so airy, and it's just going to be so beautiful. I'm going to love it, and I'm really enjoying knitting on it. Like I said, it's only a 44 stitch lace, and I'm following the graph, and it's basic lace work, just there's a small cable and some knit two together and yarn overs. It's a very size inclusive pattern. There's 12 sizes. It is designed for 20 to 30 centimeters of positive ease, which is a lot. And I don't think, well, I know I don't want 30 centimeters of positive ease. This is going to be loose fitting, but I don't think it's going to be 30 centimeters. I didn't write down. I think I'm doing the size 3. So you start at the hem with a 2x2 rib. There's one section where it's 4 knit stitches, which is the 2 sides. Yeah, the lace pattern, 44 stitches. Yeah, so the description that they've given here, that this is a roomy drop shoulder top. It's knitted from the bottom up in the rounds. The cropped body is split for the front and back and the underside of the armhole opening. And then it's knitted flat. The shoulders are finished with a 3 needle bind off. Stitches for the sleeves are then picked up and knitted in the rounds. As the sleeves are short sleeve, it's quite quick to finish. That's the pattern description. It's just pretty well what I just told you. What I will say about this yarn, super soft. And I wanted to show you, I got the end. I haven't got an end, but what I want here's the end. What I want to show you is this. It's when, as you knit in with it, it's strong, no problem at all. But if you break it, it's soft. It breaks really easy, and you can splice that back together. But what happened, and I'll tell you, when I was casting it on, I was I did a German twisted cast on, which means I had to measure out all the yarn before I started it, and I cast on, which took me quite a while, and I had quite a long tail just hanging there, and I sat down and I picked it up and it just ripped. The yarn just the yarn broke, and it broke right on the start of my first stitch, which meant I didn't have a tail to weave in, and so I unraveled it all and cast it on again. And then what I did with my tail is I wrapped it up and pinned it to the garment until I had enough garment to actually weave it in. So just be wary of that if you're using this baby yak. Like I said, it doesn't break when you're knitting with it. It doesn't feel like it's going to break. But I think if you were to catch your yarn on the side of something and just pull your knitting out of the basket or something, it will break quite easily. So just be aware of that. That's the only negative I've got to say about it. It's I'm really enjoying it. I want to get it finished for summer, and I can't recommend the yarn highly enough. The yarn actually, and I'll talk about cashmere later on, but the yarn actually feels as soft as cashmere. So that's the 100% baby yak. And that was the Adventitious by Olga. So what's my next? Okay, in my last episode too, I did a little bit of a talk on gauge and the maths for gauge, and I didn't feel comfortable with it because it's just not a strong point for me. But I offered to email it out if you were interested. And wow, were you interested? I must have emailed over 100 of that maths formula. So if you received it, I hope it just puts a bit of clarity on a few things about gauge. I did have a couple of people tell me that it was just a terrible explanation and I did it very badly. So I apologise to those of you that just glazed over and didn't find it very interesting. But what I will say, the reason I want to talk about gauge, because I think the more we talk about it, if we keep talking about it, all of those people out there that go, no, I don't do a swatch, I don't care about gauge. If we keep talking about it, eventually it will just become a second nature that you do a swatch. And I did just want to say that my explanation wasn't great, but YouTube have some wonderful videos explaining gauge. So if you want to know more, jump onto YouTube. Very Pink Knits does some really good tutorials. But if you just type in knitting, gauge, swatch, a list of tutorials will come up. And you will learn more that way than what you can learn from me. So the other thing too is, if you're just getting back into knitting and you're wanting to take your knitting further and to the next level, there are, and I don't recommend them much, but there are a few people where you pay a monthly subscription, and the only one that comes to mind really is Wardrobe Toolbox, and that's one here in in New Zealand. And that's hosted by Truly Myrtle, Libby Johnson, but she goes under the name of Truly Myrtle. She has one where you pay a monthly subscription fee and you have access to a lot of masterclasses, a lot of tutorials. When she designs a pattern, she takes you right through from the very first cast on through every technique in the pattern. And you may find something like that really valuable if you are prepared to pay a monthly subscription. And I'm sure there's others. That's just the only one I know of in New Zealand. But yeah, because I mean, there is a lot to learn, and most of it you can learn free from YouTube. Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. And I will insert the photos here. But in my last episode, you met Elizabeth from Amikihia Knits. So this pattern that I'm going to talk about was designed by Elizabeth, but it's actually a free pattern on Ravelry. You can go and download it for free, and it's called the Mahana scarf, and it's very similar small scarf to the one I showed you last week, which was, what was it? It was called the Soul Sisters little shawl, and it's also very similar construction to the Sophie scarf, which has been done tens of thousands of times. But Elizabeth has designed the Mahana scarf. It does have a little bit of lace work through it. It's beautiful. It's a one skein project, and as I said to you in my last podcast, I just can't wait to knit with cashmere. I've never knitted with cashmere. I actually don't even think I've ever owned anything in cashmere, but I have the Raku. Fior di Cashmere. So this cashmere comes from the Tibetan plains. The nomadic people farm these goats, and I think the yarn's actually, I think the cashmere's actually combed. I don't think they shear it. I think they comb it. I could be wrong there, but I've got 5 colours, and this is the colour I think that I want to do my Mahana scarf in. But I've got an order on the way, and I've ordered the red and the pink, and I think it's a sunshine yellow. So the colours I ordered are sort of quite neutral and moody, the ones I have in stock at the moment, but I have added to the range some of the more colourful ones, being the reds and the pinks. But I am going to cast on that Mahana. I've downloaded the free pattern of Ravelry, and I'm not 100%, but I think I'm going to do this colour. And let me have a look at the pattern. So the scarf is cast on, and increases are combined in the pattern work. Once the width is reached, then the scarf is worked to the length that you desire in the pattern, and then decreases are worked. Decreases are then worked, incorporating the pattern, and there's an I-cord edge is worked concurrently throughout the whole pattern. So it does have an I-cord edge, which I love. So one skein, and like I said with the other one, it's lace weight, it's very fine, but you take one strand from the middle, one from the outside, and double strand it, and you will get that beautiful Mahana scarf. Or you could try the baby yak if you didn't want to use the cashmere. But I did want to highlight that pattern, and it's not very often that we get free patterns. I think that's all I needed to tell you about that one. Now, I'm just going to get a drink, and then I'm going to tell you about the next pattern that I want to cast on. I actually can't believe I only had 2 whips to show you. It's not like me, but I have got a lot in the pipeline. The other cast on that I want to do very soon is a summer knit, and it's called The Love Letter by Veronika Lindberg, and I'll insert a photo here. Now this is designed to be worn, the design was born from a desire to create something with an all-over lace moffat that keeps changing all the time. It's a true celebration to the textures and intricate shapes that we can create with our knitting needles. The top is worked top down. First, the upper back and front are worked back and forth, and then the body is worked in the round. Lastly, stitches are picked up around the neckline and the armholes for an I-cord bind off edge. So isn't it gorgeous? And I would just love it. I've seen a lot of other podcasters that have done it, And I could see myself wearing that, and I'd probably wear a linen shirt or something over the top of it in summer, and it's just lovely. So the yarn that it was designed in is Sanders yarn. It's actually designed to be done in a 10 ply with a 20 stitch gauge. The yarn that's being used is a 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. But I have on its way one of the new mYak yarns, which is called mYak Kupa mYak Kupa, and it's 50% baby yak and 50% cotton, and it's a light finger in weight yarn, and it's a beautiful yarn for summer knits. It's a beautiful summer blend. And what I plan to do once that arrives is choose my color, and I'll probably go white, and I'm going to double strand it because it's a light finger in weight, and I will do a swatch to see if double stranding it, they recommend a 3mm needle, whether I can get the same gauge with that double stranded as what they have achieved using the Sanders yarn. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that a light fingering held double, I'll get close to gauge, because they used a 10 ply. So anyway, so on my next podcast, that yarn should have arrived, and I should have at least swatched, and I'll be able to give you more information about that. But I'm really excited to get this yarn. I've for a long time wanted a yarn with cotton in it, a nice summer yarn that's an alternative to just wool. So this is cotton and baby yak, and from what I've heard, it's an absolute dream. So that is on my to-do list, and as soon as that yarn arrives, I'm actually quite excited about it. And I'm probably excited because it's a summer knit, and we're coming into summer, and I just love summer. I thrive in summer. So what else can I tell you about that pattern? It is size inclusive. There are 9 sizes available. It's designed to be worn with 1/2 centimetre of negative ease. That means it's designed to be worn tight fitting or close to the body, not loose and baggy. And it does say that it's designed to be, it's designed with negative ease, that the fabric is very flexible due to the stretchiness of the stretchy nature of the lace. So there should be a little bit of stretch in it. So that's what I want to do with that yarn. I've also got another new pattern, and I think I talked about it in my last podcast, but it's also with the same yarn, and it is definitely something that I'm going to cast on as well. So I've got 2 projects that I want to cast on. They're both summer knits, and they are both in the mYak Kupa, which is the cotton yak blend. And the other one, and I'll insert a picture here, I'm pretty sure I showed it last podcast, but it's the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. And did I make some notes? I did. So it's a t-shirt. This pattern is, it's knitted from the bottom up, and then it's separated and worked in the flat for the front and the back. And then after joining the shoulders, sleeve stitches are picked up and worked in the rounds. She has written, I recommend using yarn with cotton or linen content to maximize the comfort for warm weather wear. A solid tonal yarn is best to show the stitch pattern, and she has used the mYak Kupa. So this pattern has been designed for this yarn. It's a 22 stitch gauge on a 3.25mm needle. It has been designed with a lot of positive ease, 30 to 38 centimeters of positive ease. So it has been designed to be very loose and very boxy. There is a schematic, and once again, I probably won't do it with 30 centimeters of positive ease. I don't want it tight fitting, but I'll see once I get the yarn, and I'll see what size I'm going to do once I swatch for it. Okay, in that pattern there is a stitch called the knot stitch, which I'm not aware of, but there are video tutorials to help you through that. There is also wrap and turns, and I will swap them out for German short rows. And the lace directions for this pattern are charted. So I prefer to work off a chart most times. So that's all good. So that's the Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. I don't know how many colours I'm getting in that range. I think I'm getting about 8. Actually, it might be 12. I might be getting most of the colours actually. I'm certainly getting the colour that it was designed in, that dark colour, but also some lighter summery colours. So that's the Stromboli. Quite excited about that. So the next one is, I just come across it on Ravelry, and I actually don't know how I feel about it. So the reason, actually no I didn't, I come across it on Instagram, and what caught my attention is that it's been knitted up in the mYak camel, and this is another fibre that's new to me. This podcast seems to be all about new fibres that I haven't worked with before, but I'm excited because they're new to me and I want to work with them. But mYak do 100% camel, and I don't know much about this fibre, and I've not used it. I haven't ordered it for the shop, but I have ordered a sample just so I can knit it up and do a swatch and have a play and actually see how I really feel about it. But Julie Hoover has designed a cardigan in the mYak camel, and I'll insert the images now. So it's called the Corey cardigan by Julie Hoover. It's a classic raglan that features the mYak camel yarn. It's been done to a 23 stitch gauge on a 3.75mm needle. Now this is where I'm a little bit torn with this pattern, because it is worked flat and then you seam it up. And I think this is something that Julie, from what I've heard, Julie Hoover does a bit. And there's some new techniques in there that I'm not used to, because when I got back into knitting, I learnt to knit top down in the round or bottom up in the rounds. And I haven't knitted anything flat and seamed up forever, probably since my teens. And I know that a lot of you are going to disagree, and I know that there are advantages to working flat and then seaming it up. But for me, it's like going a step backwards, because I think that was what we used to do like 20 years ago. We used to knit flat and we used to seam it up, and now we knit in the round. And I actually feel like that's something that it's evolved and we've advanced. So I'm not sure how I love the cardigan, don't get me wrong, and I really want to work with the camel, but it is going to be new to me in the fact that I've never seamed up before. I'm going to literally have to watch tutorials and teach myself how to seam a garment. So the camel, it comes from north and eastern Tibet. It's an arid part of the plateau close to the Gobi Desert, in case you're wondering where it come from. The camels are tended by the Tibetan communities that represent a very interesting mix of Tibetan and Mongolian cultures. Back to it's got the name of the camel, I can't pronounce it. It's a marvellous animal, able to thrive in extreme climate and conditions. It's used to transport family belongings during something or other. Camel fibre is warm, it's very soft, and for centuries it's been known as one of the most noble fibres in the world. It's luxurious to touch, and it's unique mix between strength and softness. It's 5-ply. That's what I wanted to talk about. So it's 5-ply and it's a sports weight yarn. So, and I haven't ordered it, so don't get too excited yet. But my Yarnadelic, I've just grabbed a random colour there. But my Yarnadelic, which I get in from the John Oven textile mills, is 100% Falkland Corriedale. This is a perfect sports weight yarn that would be perfect for that pattern. So if you like that pattern and you do want to do it, and you don't want to wait for the camel, you could easily do that in Yarnadelic. So that's what I will do. I'm going to wait until I get my sample of the camel. I'm going to swatch it up and see how I feel about it, and then make the decision whether financially it's worth me bringing in the range or not. But the alternative is definitely Yarnadelic. So be interesting to hear your thoughts on top down in the round versus knitting in the flat. And like I said, I'm sure there's pros and cons to both. But for some reason, I've just got this block that sort of says, why would you do that? Why would you knit a pattern flat and have to seam it up when we've got all the tools and the techniques to knit in the rounds? Anyway, so that's another new, it's not a new cast on because I haven't even got the yarn for it. It's a new pattern that I found. And do you know what I really loved about it was the detail in the back shoulders. I'll insert another photograph in case you missed it. And I'm sure that's part of the seaming, but there's some really nice detail at the top of the shoulders on the back. I just think it's a really beautiful classic raglan cardigan. So truth be known, I probably will knit it, and then I will have to watch some tutorials or have somebody show me how to seam it up. The other thing I was gonna, it's another pattern that I'm going to show you. So one of my viewers who sent me a message said that she's recently found me, and she's gone back and she's watched some of the earlier episodes. Although this episode I think was only about 3 or 4 episodes ago. So when I got back from Canada, did I write what episode it was? I thought I did. It was episode 57, so it was 3 episodes ago. I showed 3 skeins of yarn that I bought, 3 different colours, the same blend, and because I loved it, but they didn't have 3 colours the same. They were selling out of it, so I picked one of each that I thought would work well together. But then I had to find a pattern that I could use 3 different colours for, and of course I could just do 3 stripes, but and I did find a pattern. But this lady come through and she alerted me to this pattern, which you can use 3 different colours for. So if you've got 3 random skeins in your stash, a 4-ply, you could knit this pattern. So I thought I would share it with you. She actually said that she's made this pattern several times. So, and you could do big stripes or small stripes. It's but I'll insert a picture of that pattern for you to have a look at here. It uses 3 different colours. It's top down in the round, finger in weight. It's a 28 stitch gauge. It's a crew neck, drop shoulder, designed with positive ease, with charted and written instructions. The 3 colours are arranged in wide stripes with different stitch patterns separated by a narrow garter stitch. The shoulder line stands out as it's done in a it's cast off in a contrasting colour. Very size inclusive, goes from an extra small to an XXL. And I just thought I'd share that with you. I haven't purchased the pattern, but it looks like a really nice pattern to highlight different colours. But I also like the way that there's different lace patterns that are blocked out by a garter stitch row. So they're like panels. So I do like that. But that, I don't even know if I told you what it was called. It's called The Pirate Jenny, and it's by Heidi Marie Kaiser. I haven't come across this designer before, so it's always nice when somebody recommends someone new and you can jump on Ravelry and have a look. But yeah, Heidi Marie Kaiser. And just so you know too, all of these patterns that I've discussed, I will leave the Ravelry link in my notes, so you can just go and click on that and it will take you straight to the pattern if you are interested in having a look at it. And I have one more pattern that I want to share with you that I think is new, and I came across it on Ravelry, and I'd like to do it for myself, but I'd actually also like to do one for my daughter. But I'm just going to grab a drink. I do hope this podcast is flowing okay with these different overlays that I'm putting on. So this is, like I said at the beginning, I've been trying to teach myself new ways and better ways to edit and do my videos. So I do hope it's flowing okay. And the other reason is because I spend a lot of money on printing out colour patterns to show you, and I'm trying to reduce those costs. So I thought if I can show them to you like as an overlay, I'm hoping it's just as effective, if not more effective and better than me showing up a bit of paper with a picture on it. So still learning and still a little bit of trial and error, and I'm sure there will be things that I can improve, but I hope that it's flowing okay. So this next pattern jumped out at me, and it's called the Sunset Sweatshirt by Jessie Made Designs. And I think why it jumped out, I love the boxy casual sweatshirt look and feel of it, but it's been done in a worsted weight yarn. Now, was it last year? I think it was last year. I knitted a jersey, a sweatshirt, and it was Hohi Locatelli's Super Summer Simple Sweater, something like that. I won't insert a picture. I did it quite a while ago. But the yarn I did it in was this Nurturing Fibres. It's 100% merino, but it's a super twist DK. But it's actually a heavy DK, so I would put it in sort of that ballpark of a worsted weight yarn. Now that sweatshirt, I absolutely love it, and I wear it quite a bit when we go away in the motorhome, and like we might be sitting outside of an evening barbecuing or socialising. It's that sort of vibe that it's, you know, it's sitting out at night in the summer where it's cool. You need a jersey, but it's a nice summer night. I loved that yarn for that sweatshirt. And when I saw this pattern, I thought, I want that sweatshirt and I want to do it again in this yarn, because it's not a real fluffy merino. It knits up beautifully into a sweatshirt. I'll leave the link below, but there's some of the colours that are available, but I should show you the pattern, shouldn't I? So I'll insert a picture here of the Sunset Sweatshirt by Jessie Made. Like I said, it's worsted weight and it's an 18 stitch gauge. The design is knit seamlessly from the top down with shoulder, short row shaping and slightly tapered sleeves. Stitches are picked up for the sleeves and the neckline. it's very, very size inclusive, and that is something that Jessie Maid does really quite well. It goes up to 152 centimetre bust, and she does have optional instructions for bust darts if you are a more fuller bust figure. I hope I'm saying that right. But so there are options for bust darts in it. I've never done bust darts, I've never needed to, but I do like the fact that it is so size inclusive. But as you can see on the photo there's you can see it on different body shapes. But I just love the relaxed oversized vibe of that jersey. So I do think that is something that I'm going to cast on. And if you're keen, worsted weight yarn or the Nurturing Fibres Super Twist DK would work beautifully for it. And I could actually see my daughter loves oversized jerseys. So I could actually see her wearing that as well. And the good thing with worsted weight yarn is they do knit up a little bit quicker than, say, my Adventitious, which I'm doing on a 2.75mm needle in lace weight. So it'll probably be nice for me to have something on the needles that is more worsted weight and a quicker knit than lace weight. I think that's all the patterns. There's quite a few there. I'm just going to scroll through and double check. Okay. So we talked about what I'm wearing, the Scarlet Oak, my Suri tee, which is a work in progress, my Adventitious by Olga Putano, which I've done in the baby yak, my finished Oslo hat, which I'm super happy about, and I will cast on another one straight away. Like I may even cast it on today. Because it is really easy compact knitting, and that is what I throw in my handbag if I'm walking out the door and I want to take knitting with me because I'm out and about or in a waiting room. It's that sort of knitting. So I will cast another one of those on in the next day or two. When I do my editing, I have to, I actually sit down and I watch this whole podcast through on my computer, and I don't like doing it. It's really difficult to actually watch and listen to yourself, but I have to do it as part of the editing, and sometimes that's when I'll just sit there and knit something like an Oslo hat. So I'll probably do that while I'm doing part of the editing. We talked about gauge. The Mahana scarf by Amikihia Knits. So jump on and have a look at some of Elizabeth's patterns, but that's a free download. And because it's a free download, you're saving, so therefore it'd be perfect to do it in Cashmere. Why not? The Love Letter is something that I want to cast on when I get my new yarn, and also the Stromboli. I'm just doing a recap here. The Pirate Jenny, that's the one with this, if you've got 3 spare skeins and you want to do something with 3 colours. And the last one we talked about was the Sunset Sweatshirt by Jessie Maid. So that's quite a lot of patterns. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is a shop update. Very quickly, I'll show you. On my last podcast, I took 25% off my leather bucket bags, and they sold out. They sold really quickly. You absolutely loved them. What I have left is the same size bag, but in black, and I only have 3 left. And they're also 20% off. So if you did miss out and you wanted one, they are in black. When you go onto the website, you have to, it'll have the tan ones sold out, but there's a drop down box and you select the other color and they are available. So there is still 3 of those black bags left. There was 4 left, but I took one out for myself because I didn't have one in the black. And the other thing I did the other day, so this is a new special. I've taken 20% off all of my kids silk mohair. I grabbed a few of the colours out to show you. Aren't they beautiful? So these are 50 grams and they're 400 meters, and they're a real pain to wind. So you will receive them already wound and caked up. I've included that in the price that it's free ball winding. So they are 20% off on my website. There's still a few colours that I've got like sweater quantities worth. But if you're after some mohair, jump on and get that now, because that's really quite a good special. And I have some new products. So I'm just showing you these before I go on to the thread and maple review. So actually, you guys love these. So the all stitch markers. That's the sampler box. Aren't they so pretty? They're all back in stock. But what I did get from that range, oh, look at me, I even wrote the prices, is, so this here, they do a cork collection. And this is all, the cork is sustainable. I read the article. Anyway, it's on their website, but it's cork that is obtained sustainably. But this is the little notions case. That's it there. It's just a little zip, a little press stud. And I think they're just really pretty. So that's the notions case. And then they also, no, that's actually on my website, that's the notions pouch. And they're $28. This one is the notions case and it's $30. So it's the size of like a glasses case. But it is big enough to hold your tape measure and your scissors. And I mean, you can use it for your glasses if you like. But it is big enough for, yeah, your tape measure and all of your bits and bobs. So that's in the All Stitch Cork range. So they are new products. Okay. I wanted to tell you, I think I did tell you that the cashmere I've got coming in 3 or 4. I've added another 4 colours to the range, and they should be here next week. I think they're leaving Italy today, and last time it took less than a week for that freight, which was really good, although I'd say it cost an arm and a leg. I hate paying freight, but anyway, I have to. So I have added some brighter colours, some reds and pinks and yellows to the cashmere range. And I've also added another couple of colours to the, this is the baby yak. Look at that colour. Isn't it gorgeous? That colour is called Apple Teeny. But there's, I don't know, it's about 8 colours. Jump on the website and have a look at those. There. Did that one. Okay, I'm going to pause and I'm going to clean all of this up, and I'm going to get the thread and maple products. So I hope you stay with me for that wee product. I suppose it's like a product review, but also a shop update. Okay. Okay, I'm really excited about this range. So Thread and Maple is a mother and daughter in Canada, but they immigrated from Ukraine, and all of these products are made in sort of, I suppose, small artisan style factories in Ukraine. Which I think is really nice, because if anyone needs help at the moment, it's Ukraine. So really nice to support them. But the workmanship of these products are exceptional. And for me, leather is like wool. I love leather. It's just one of those, I just love it, as I do love wool. So Thread and Maple, it's a series of pages that make up a binder for all of your needles. So this is mine so far. Now this binder there's a jumbo and a regular. They're the same size, but the regular holds around 4 pages. The jumbo one can hold up to about 6 or 7 pages. So depending on how extensive your collection is, to whether you need the regular or the jumbo. They come in a couple of different colours. At the moment, I've only got the whiskey because that is the main seller. So what the ladies at Thread and Maple have told me, and this is like worldwide, is they sell 7 out of 10 of the binders that they sell are in this colour, which is why I've started with this colour. Down the track I may get the chocolate, but at the moment we've got the colour which is just the whiskey, because it's quite an extensive range, so to carry everything in 2 colours would be like completely out of the ballpark. So this is the binder. Now it unclips, so all these pages can come out and you can take the pages out and as you need them. But the good thing about this collection is you don't need the binder. You may want to start with just 1 page. And I'll show you first I'll show you what I've got in mine, and then I'll show you the pages individually. So that's the front cover of the binder. So in there I've got my DPNs in there and my gauge ruler. This one is, I think it's called a project page. No, it's not. It's called a notions page, and I'll show you these individually. It's magnetic. They have magnets on them, so things like your stitch markers and that don't run away. So this one's got room for your scissors, your embroidery needles, a pen, and then it's got this big clip pouch. In there I've got tape measure, I've got my cords, stitch markers, I've got a whole lot of things in there. So that's the notions page. And then I have 2 pages for my needles. Now, with the needles, they've named them. So there's pages for chiaoGoo, pages for Knit Pro, pages for Likey, is it? But what I will tell you is every page works for any needle. It just depends on your range of needles and sort of the system that you want. Now this page I've got here is actually called, it's for signature needles. I'm not sure what signature, I don't think it's Knit Pro. There's some company that do a range of needles called Signature. But what I found is that it was just perfect for my small set of chiaoGoo. So it went from I can't read that. I think it went from a 3.25 up to a 6. So for me, it was just perfect for my chiaoGoo 4-inch tips. And then here is, it's got like sort of concertina, it folds down, is where I've put all my cables. And what I've done, what you'll see here, is I've actually taken the sticker that was on the bag that my cables was in, and I've stuck it to this so I know. So I've got my 20 centimetre, my 35, my 55, my 75. But this does come with little stickers that will stick onto the pages so you can label each page. But in there is all the cables I need for all of those tips. So what I can do, and I'll show you, is I can actually just, if I'm going away and I think all I need is my basic set of chiaoGoo, I can just take that page out and it folds up and I can take it with me. The 3rd page I've put in is what's called the chiaoGoo complete set. So about 2 years ago, for Christmas got the chiaoGoo Forte set, and to be honest, I hardly ever use them. They're 5-inch, but I think it's because they're in a separate case to my other chiaoGoo, and it was always, I just never used them. Where now I'm super excited because I've got them all here in this binder with my regular chiaoGoo, so I actually think I'll probably use these more. But in there I've got the Forte. And what you can do with this, so these, where your needles go, super strong, but they're on a Velcro pad, and depending, if they were 4-inch, you could have them orientated that way, but because they're 5-inch, and I want to be able to fold that page in half, I've orientated them that way. So depending on the length of your needles will depend on how you orientate that. There is also a zip in here as well, where I've got all my cables. I've got my large cables for my thicker, for my bigger needles. So there's a zipper in there as well. So they're the 3 pages I've got, and then the back page has a spot for DPNs. So I've got some of my extra tips in there, crochet hook, cable hook. You can put in there whatever you like, but I think it is designed for your DPNs. So that's how I've got mine set up so far. I want to show you the pages. So this page here is the page that I've used, and it's called the signature page. So that goes on there for your needles, and then in here is your concertina for all your cables. But what you do, so that is a page within your binder, and it's held in by these 2 metal loops. I can take that out, though they fold in, and then that closes up, and then what you've got here is these tabs. They're like that when they're in the binder, but then you can undo them and you can close that up, and then that becomes a little portable one that you can take with you. And this is where I'm saying you can select a page that you love. So this would fit a small set of chiaoGoo and all your cables, and you can just get that. You don't have to buy the binder, or you can build your pages and then buy the binder down the track. So that one there is called Signature Needle Page. The next one that I'll show you is called a catch-all page. So this is really just for notions. It's got a big clip, it's got a big pocket there. This is really thick leather too, by the way, and it's got a zipper pocket there. So this is literally just a folder that you could use for notions or anything. It's called the catch-all page. This page is actually the most expensive page, and it's because it's all kitted out, ready to go. So it's called the Notions Page Bundle. So there's a Notions page that's empty, but this Notion page comes with everything in it. So you've got your darning needles, your tape measure, your scissors and a pen. You've got a little Notions pouch, which, is that the magnetic one? No, that one's not. This one is. So this here too, this is what I love, is this here's a big magnet in there. So that will hold, if you've got, like my all stitch markers that I use, a metal. So on mine, they just stick to it. I can just get half a dozen stitch markers and pop on there and they won't move. Actually, I'll show you that because I'm pretty sure. Oh no, it's in my project page. I'll show you. So there are quite a few sections to a page that are actually magnetic, but you've got some stitch markers in there and the pouch, and once again it clips up and folds up and you can take it with you. That's the Notions pouch empty, and you can put in there what you want. This page here I thought about getting, but I don't think it'll work for me. But it's for fixed. It's called the fixed circular page. And in here you can take them out of the packet, and it holds all your fixed circulars. The reason this won't work for me is because I've got a real lot of fixed circulars. Because when I first started using chiaoGoo years ago, that's what I started with, and every time I did a new project I'd buy it as a fixed circular. But then I thought, what am I doing? I should have the interchangeable set. So I do have a lot, too many that will fit in here, and I also have the fixed circulars in the 30 centimeter that I use for my sleeves. I've got quite a few of those, like in most sizes. So if you only sort of have a couple, or you have them just for your socks, you might have a 2.25 and a 2.5, and that's what this page is for. So it's just called Fixed Circular. And these are the pages. So the other thing that they told me when they said 70% of customers buy the whiskey color leather, they also said that 70% of customers that they sell these to buy the chiaoGoo pages. So obviously there's a lot of chiaoGoo users out there. But this page here is chiaoGoo Complete. And this is the one that I've used for my my Forte set. So I won't take those out because you've seen them, but they Velcro onto there and they hold all your needles. They are really tight, so there's no way your needles are going to fall out. And the leather's embossed with all the sizes. The only negative that I have come across with this range is, but I think it's happens with a lot of ranges, is that they haven't made allowances for a 3mm. So they go from sort of a 2.5, 2.75 to a 3.25. No spot for a 3. So, but what I've done is I've put my 3mm in that zip with the cables. So that's the chiaoGoo Complete. And this one here is the chiaoGoo Small. But like I said, this will hold any, they don't have to be chiaoGoo needles. If you go on, you will see it's embossed with all the sizes. And if all those sizes correspond to whatever needle set that you're using, then this page is perfect. But this is the chiaoGoo Small, so it comes with the needle holder. And then it comes with a big pouch that will hold all the cables. So that's... The other thing it comes with is this chiaoGoo page also comes with a Velcro tab for your blue shorties, your red shorties, and your yellow shorties. So you can create a whole page for your... you'll know what I mean if you're a chiaoGoo user, the shorty kits. And on my website, they are actually called chiaoGoo Red, chiaoGoo Blue. And they're all under the chiaoGoo page. So, as you can see, there's lots of pages that all work individually. You don't have to buy the binder. You can just buy each page as you need it. One of the most popular pages that they sell, and I've actually got these in 3 different colours, is the project page. Now, I haven't got my project page in my binder, and I probably will never put it in my binder, because this is what I have with me in my knitting bag, and this is what I set up when I started a new project. So when I started this project, I got the tips that I need, the cords that I needed, any notions that I needed, and I filled up my little project page. So I know that when I leave the house, I've got everything I need for that particular project. In here, how I've got mine set up, that's what I was talking about, the magnet. It's a really strong magnet. So that's actually just holding a whole lot of my stitch markers. That's the tape measure. I've got these little scissors in there, and the reason I've got these in there is because these are the ones that I know I can take through an airport. I'm not sure where you get these from. A friend bought these for me from overseas, but they've got the tiniest little blade that it actually doesn't get detected at an airport. I've got cable needle, embroidery needle. I've got a nail file because you need a nail file. I've got under that flap there, I've got my gauge ruler, I've got another stitch holder. I've got a DPN and a crochet needle. And in this zip here, I've got end stoppers and T-pins and everything that I need if I need to change my tips. And then, so that flips up. There's another pocket in there where I've got my cords. And I haven't got any needle tips in here, but this is where I would put, so if I'm knitting with this and I've got my cable and I'm using a 3.25, but maybe I need a 3 for the sleeves or something, I'd put both tips in there. So that page is called the project page. And like I said, I will probably never put that in my folder because that is what sits in my, that's what I take with me, is the project page. This comes in black, whiskey, and a color called denim, which is blue. It's like a blue leather. When I was at Knit City, Toronto, that's where I met the ladies, and that's where I first come across thread and maple. And at the time, I knew I couldn't buy it. I'd already blown my budget on yarn, and also it's quite heavy. And I was being really conscious of weight that we were bringing back in our suitcases. So I shouted myself to this, and that's why it's black. I mean, had I thought ahead, I probably would have bought it in the whiskey. But I bought this when I was over in Toronto, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. What I will say as well is, actually you can see it on my binder, the leather does scuff up a little bit. So if I'm a bit rough with it, actually just my fingernail will scuff it up. But it does come with this pad, and they just rub out. You don't even need anything. You just go like that, and you just buff out any marks on it because it does mark up. There is a leather care kit that I've ordered that has got some conditioner in it and a cleaning pad and a few other things. But the binders come with this little pad, which does the job fine. I have got quite a bit more from Thread and Maple come in. I have leather bags, like bucket style bags. This range just blows my mind. What I will do in the notes, in my show notes, I'm going to leave a link for a YouTube tutorial that features thread and maple and pretty well talks you through what I've just done. So if you do want more information, check out their website. The other two little things that they do, this has a magnet on the back so it sticks to your project page, but this one is called Square Zip. No, that's not the square zip. That's the leather stitch marker case. And that will hang. It's got a wee little clip. And it just holds stitch markers. It's tiny, but it's cute. It's like, I love it. And that will magnetize onto your project page. And the other one is the square zip pouch. This one's not magnetic. It's designed to open like that with a squeeze. But the idea behind this is it will fit into any of the pockets in any of your pages. So that's the small zip pouch. What else will I say about Thread and Maple is it is an expensive range. It's not, I'm not going to fluff that over. It's a luxury item, and that's why I say just buy a page. I'd probably, if you were just starting the project page or the signature page or the chiaoGoo small or complete page, and that will pretty well hold all of your tips and all of your cables, and it's a good starting point. I have actually had a couple of customers that when I got it in bought the whole range. They bought the large binder with 6 pages. So they're as mad as I am. There are some crazy people out there, but it's also the sort of thing that I would buy and then give to my husband and say, can you put that under the Christmas tree for me? Or if the kids want to know what to buy me for Christmas, just give them that. So although we're some way off Christmas, but we're not really. August, September, October, November, 4 months. But I just love it. I can't, like I said, the only negative that I can find is that it doesn't have allowances for the 3mm tip. I think that's it. It does scuff up a bit, but you do have the pad to just buff those scuffs out. But then in saying that, it's leather, and leather's designed to be pretty robust, and it gets better with age. I've always said that. The other thing, so there's some things that I haven't been able to fit into my binder. That's the shorty set that I was talking about. So there is a page called chiaoGoo Red Shorties, and it's designed for this kit. But that'll be down the track. In the meantime, I will be able to fit that into one of the pockets. And then I also have the chiaoGoo Bamboo set. I don't like knitting with these, and to be quite honest, I only ever use these when I fly, and I don't want to risk using my chiaoGoos at the airport. So I'm going to keep them in there. I'm not going to get an extra page just for my bamboos, but I may down the track get the page for the red shorties. So that's all I've got left. So that there, I know it's pretty crazy, but that is my whole needle, notions, gauge rulers, scissors, everything. That's that. So that's Thread and Maple. I hope you stuck with me this long through the shop update. Like I said, I will be getting more mYak fibres on its way. I've got a couple of new yarns coming in, but please follow me on social media because that's where I advertise all of that. So Instagram and Facebook. And as always, I ask, if you haven't already, please subscribe. That's how I get recognition through YouTube, is by the amount of subscribers and thumbs up and views and viewing hours. So I hope you watch me right through to the end. That always helps. And I really appreciate it, as always. I know there's a lot of knitting podcasts out there, so if you've chosen to spend your time with me, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. What I will say is I'm actually, tap on the shoulder, I'm actually really quite pleased with myself because it's 2 weeks. Most of my podcasts recently have been 3 weekly, just because life gets in the way. But for some reason, I felt I had the time, but also the content to bring you one after 2 weeks. And I think the fact that I'm learning how to do things better, I hope they're better, with my editing and overlays and things like that, that it should speed up the process moving forward, because there's a lot I can do beforehand to prepare for it. So I'm just talking a lot now, I know. But anyway, I do hope that it's flowed, and I do hope it's, not that I want to change the format at all, I don't, but I think if there's little things that I can tweak to make it a little bit more professional, then it's always a positive. So thank you very much for viewing. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Stay happy, stay healthy, get lots of knitting done, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.